Welcome everyone in YouTube land, Facebook land. What's going on? Welcome to 2023, the live stream. All right, you with us, in terms of the PRE, the principal, head of school. We are here today to just introduce 2023, talk about some topics that'll be of interest to our parents, and to just have a little bit of fun. We just came off the World Cup, and we have been traveling and things like that. So just wanted to get back into the groove of things by at least you guys seeing our faces, and seeing us ready to go for this new year. So again, my name is Justin Hamza Tyler. I'm your friendly neighborhood PRE, Parent Relations Executive here at Gems American Academy. Like I always do, I bring my friends and colleagues here to talk about topics that are of interest to you as parents. So without further ado, what I'll do is give over the mic to our head of school, Mr. Mark Lentz, and then we can go around and the principals introduce themselves. And then we'll talk about some of our stories from World Cup and our winter break before we get into the real topics of today. So, Mr. Mark Lentz, can you start off the Welcome to 2023 live stream?
I would love to. Thanks for the honor and the chance. And thanks to everybody out there in social media land that is watching and listening and participating with us today. It means a lot to us that you're taking your time to join our live stream. As Justin said, Happy New Year. Welcome to 2023. We have had a great couple of years despite the challenges that life has thrown at us. And we are really excited to see what is ahead in 2023. I'm Mark Lentz. For those of you who've been here for a while, you probably know that I am head of school and CEO of Gems American Academy, as well as the country director for Gems in Qatar. And I'm just really looking forward to a new year with all of you guys. And over to you, Eamon.
Eamon Gregory. Mr. Gregory is the principal for grade 6 through 12. Been here a very long time, so I've been watching the build-up for 8 years for the World Cup, so it was something I've been really excited about. So I stayed for the 6 weeks. I worked throughout the 6-week, I would say, vacation. It was a nice time to work. I got to see 5 of the football games. At school, we actually had Al Jazeera, Balkans come in and do an interview on campus. And we also had Korea Broadcasting Studios come in and do a Korean TV show with 2 famous Korean football players. So we had a lot going on during the school. Just renovated the gym as well during the World Cup. So there was a lot of things going on at school at the same time. But yeah, great experience. I'm ready to go for 2023. We've got a lot happening in the next few weeks and in the coming months. I'm very excited to be back. Jordan, I guess.
Sure. My name is Jordan Shear. I'm the elementary principal here at Gems American Academy. This is my 2nd year here, so I'm not the veteran that Mark and Eamon are, but we had a great first year last year, and this year so far has started off really strong, and I'm excited to enter into this new term. I have not witnessed the build-up of the World Cup over the last 8 years. I just had a year to kind of build up my anticipation for it, but I enjoyed my experience as well. I stayed for the group stage, went to see a number of games, had a blast. It was just an amazing experience all around. And then periodically got to come in and check in school. We also did some things over break. We completely renovated our elementary playground with a brand new surface. I'm sure your kids have come home raving about the new elementary indoor football pitch. We have turfed it over on our playground, and the kids are super excited about that. And a couple more things to do coming up as well. But yeah, I think, for me, this year has been a return to normalcy. We had a really strong fall term where we were able to offer a lot of the things that you all have become accustomed to, and that we all, we remember fondly from before COVID times. And we're looking forward to being able to do the same thing and just build on that in the spring term. So welcome back.
All right. Thanks, Jordan. Thanks, everyone, for the introduction. I think for me, the World Cup, I went to one game. Not really a soccer enthusiast per se, but I went to one game. I think it's the greatest tournament that the world has seen. And so that was fun. So, but yeah, it's a really good that to see it. I've only been for the build up for about 5 years. Eamon beats all of us in terms of the build up. So I give him that trophy there. But what I'm going to do right now is, before we get into the stories, short stories about the World Cup or winter break and what we've done, I want to show you some of the topic of events today, or things that we're going to discuss. So I want to put this on the screen right now. And then on the screen here, you'll be able to see the topics that Mr. Eamon will cover. And then we'll go to Mr. Mark and then myself. And then, Mr. Jordan will have some things to speak about from a lower school perspective on some of the topics that Mr. Eamon will talk about as well. And so we have a good amount of things to talk about. And as always, we want you to put your comments in the YouTube chat, in the Facebook comments, because this is what we'll do to answer your questions at the end. We'll put it on the screen. We'll look at it, and then we'll answer those questions, or just say thank you, or whatever it may be in terms of what your feedback is. So please feel free to put your comments in the chat based on things that we say and things that you want us to answer. All right. So I'm going to take this topic screen off now. We'll bring it back in a little bit. Okay. So we're going to move that. And then I guess I'll go first with the World Cup. I went to one game. I went to Germany versus Japan. And, I will say, full disclosure, that I was going for Germany to win. And that plan soon evaporated. It was a wonderful match. Japan completely surprised the whole stadium in the second half. So I think they scored 2 goals in the second half to win. So that was like really early on in the tournament. So that was my highlight of seeing that. And, my team lost. If I was a betting man, it would be a sad day when they lost. So, and then in terms of the rest of the World Cup or extended break, I did travel to Egypt, wonderful place. I traveled to Cairo and Luxor and Aswan, had a really fun time there. And I saw a lot of people that looked like me in Aswan. That was pretty cool. And then I went to London, and London was always a class act. It was fun. And then it snowed there as well. It snowed like the day after I left. I was upset about that. I haven't seen snow in a long time, but London's always a class place. Came here for a couple of weeks, had to still work. The teachers are off, but, admin had to work, and we're here now, and so I'm just happy and excited and energized for what we have in store for 2023. So we'll go in reverse order this time. We'll go with Jordan now to talk about a little bit of his adventures during the World Cup and then also for the winter break.
Sure. Well, I feel pretty privileged. I ended up going to see 8 games, and I'm not a football enthusiast either, but I'm definitely the fan that every time the World Cup comes around, I just get so excited for it. I watch every single possible game I can, generally on TV. I've never been in the country before. Watch every single game. I get super excited about it. World Cup ends, and I say, football's the greatest sport. I'm going to stay involved. I'm going to pick a team and follow them. And then a month later, I don't. But during World Cup, I just loved it. And the experience of going to the games is something that I'll never forget. I did stick around for the group stage. At the end of the group stage, I headed back home to the United States to see family. Was able to spend some time with family in Northern California. And then we took a trip down to Baja, Mexico, which is a place I've never been before. And it was just lovely. Spent a well-earned 10 days relaxing on the beach, exploring an old Mexican beach town. It was pretty fantastic. So, and then we came back here, rested, recharged, and ready to go. So I'm ready.
Yeah, and then mine, as I said earlier, I worked for the 6 weeks here, but I got to go to 5 games. I watched every football game, so I watched all 64 games. And I had my brothers visit for 2 weeks, which was fun. They got to come to some games with us, and I think like one of the highlights as an Irishman was going to the French and English game as a French fan. That was one of those happy moments that we'll remember forever. But yeah, it was a great experience. I think what you were talking about, Justin, with the Japan game, I remember I was out in a restaurant when Japan bet Germany, and there was a lot of fans but there was no, Japanese or German fans. And what happened is when 4 Japanese fans walked into the restaurant, everybody applauded them after the win, like from different nationalities. It was amazing. So there's a few experiences like that. Saudi Arabia beating Argentina. It's probably one of the biggest upsets ever in the World Cup. Saudi Arabia bet the team that won the World Cup. You know,
Mhm.
it was a crazy tournament.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but yeah, had a great time. The weather's been lovely in Doha, and I think I agree. Like I talked to a lot of fans who'd been to 4 or 5 World Cups, and they said that this was the best organized, clean, easy, to, family friendly, easy to get to the games, all of that. So I'm sort of I wish it was here again.
You can't get everything you wish for now. All right, thanks, Eamon. And then Mr. Mark, what did you do? You're always a man of adventure, so I'm curious to hear where you've been and what you've done.
Yeah, I try to be anyway. So yeah, I would say that I've become a soccer fan, football fan, if you will. First time I really experienced World Cup was about 20 something years ago on a sailing trip in the Mediterranean with a group of Germans and English, and we had a standing agreement that whenever England was playing, we all cheered, and whenever Germany was playing, we all cheered. And if Germany was playing England, we went to opposite sides of whatever room that we were in. But that was kind of a cool thing for me to experience, and I've sort of enjoyed it on the periphery ever since. But it was just my beautiful daughter is a big football player, footballista, as they say in Espanol, and she was just recently recruited to the women's national team. So I have learned a lot about football from her, and have considered myself a pretty avid football fan at this point. I had the pleasure of being at 4 matches, and I was at probably the highlight for me is I was at that Saudi Arabia versus Argentina game. And it was one of those where we went in honestly not having a strong tie to really either team, but you know, everybody likes Messi, right? My kids are big football fans. They wanted to see Messi live. So we had all the Argentina gear on, and everybody thought we were Argentinian, I think. But pretty quickly, you know, I've always been the guy that kind of roots for the underdog, right? And you just, man, it was such, and to see the vibe in the stadium when Saudi Arabia won, and you know, there were everybody in traditional gear jumping up and down and screaming, and there were a bunch of Saudi Arabian guys near us, and one of them made an offhanded comment maybe about Argentinians, and but it was really cool to see his buddies notice us and kind of like, hey, like, you know, let's just be happy. We don't need to say anything negative. So I took the moment and used my limited Arabic and walked over to the guy that had said the thing and stuck my hand out and said, Mabruk. And then he hugged me, and then everybody was laughing. And but I think it kind of comes back to what Eamon said, that, you know, all eyes in the world were on Qatar to see what would happen. And we didn't know, would we pull it off well, or would there be some fails? And, you know, there was some negative press towards our host country, I think towards the beginning, but as we get towards the end, everything I've heard is positive. And the words, I echo what Eamon said. It was family friendly. There wasn't fighting there. It was well organized. I felt perfectly safe taking my 9-year-old son to go watch football matches. And that was a really, really cool experience for us. And there was a camaraderie amongst the fans, maybe as opposed to an angst that I don't know that you necessarily got other years. So I'm impressed, and I had a blast. And then left there and went, my wife is from Trinidad and Tobago. Her family has emigrated to Barbados. We went there and bought a house. I broke my hand. So you will notice that a lot of my messages to the parents are shorter, more to the point. My Raptor reports, it's really hard to type with one finger. So I'm doing the best that I can. But if any of my messages are a little shorter out there, folks, I appreciate your support and understanding. Saw my family in Philadelphia for a couple of days, and I'm really excited to be back. There's just a buzz around the school. It's cool that we're starting this early, because we had, Eamon, how many returning seniors? 9, 10, 11?
Too many. I can't keep up. I think it could have been 12, actually.
Yeah, but they didn't organize it. It's not like one thing, but one of the cool things about this school is the kids just love it so much that they always want to come back. And I mean, why not? They're good kids. We're not the school that doesn't. I've worked at schools where once you graduate, you're not allowed back on campus. That's just not us. So I mean, it was just so cool to see all the kids coming back and hugging each other and smiling, and it's really good to be back.
Yeah, absolutely. They surprised me, because part of the reason I was a little bit late is because they were talking to me and they surprised me in my office. And you know what? Some of them were our first inaugural class, a graduating class.
Mhm.
Some of them look like they're so grown.
Mhm.
A matter of 4 years, I thought it was a parent. One of them, I was like, "How can I help you, sir?" Then I realized, oh, wait a minute, you went to our school before. So it's really cool to see that. It's really organic as well. Like I said, it's not coordinated. They just pop up and they come and show love. So that's a sign that at least it was a good time when they were here. So that's a good thing. And as I said before, Mr. Mark is not short of details and excitement, right? You see, he has a lot of going on in the span of 5 weeks. It's a lot going on. So congratulations on multiple ends, right? Your daughter and the new house and things like that. So sorry for your hand.
Me too.
It'll get better. It'll get better. All right, cool. So hope that was entertaining for you guys to see a little bit of our experiences. For the parents that are watching right now, if you want to let us know what you did during the World Cup and during your extended break, please let us know. Put it in the chat, put it in the comments. We would love to talk about it, post it on the screen, things like that. So feel free to do so. All right. But we have to move on to talk about the business, right? So here we have, again, today's topics. So first and foremost, we're going to start with Mr. Amon, our upper school principal, longest tenured person here on the panel. And we're going to talk about a couple of these things. So Amon, don't worry. We'll let you know what the topic is once you're finished. You don't have to worry about doing this unless you want me to keep it up. I can keep it up now as well.
Well, okay. If you just mention what the topic is, yeah, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Cool. So I'll let you know what the topic is, and then we'll move forward. So I'll moderate from that standpoint. All right. And from time to time, I will put the screen back on. So first thing first, we talked about the World Cup. We got that out the way. So the next topic is more so about after-school activities, which is really different from what Mr. Jordan is doing in lower school. So please kind of let them know what's going on for upper school activities.
Yeah, at the moment, like the after-school activities program for us is still the same. So we're still in semester 1. So the ASAs are on it right now, and the sports teams are on. There's a few tournaments on in the next few days. But what we'll do is we'll have a 3-week break, and then we're going to have a 2-week break in 3 weeks' time, and then our semester 2 ASAs will start in February. Again, and we'll send out all the information and all that about how to sign up in the coming weeks. But that's pretty much all from me. Mr. Shear or Mr.
Yep. So as Eamon said, our elementary schedule is very different. We run 3 separate sessions of after-school activities each year, and we wrapped up our first session a couple of weeks before break, and then we went ahead and got all the sign-ups done before we went on break. If you remember, we sent out links. I know Justin sent out links. We posted them in Class Dojo. We emailed them out to parents. Individual teachers should have sent them to their classes. So you should have received the sign-up link in multiple different formats back at the beginning of November. That sign-up period was for the activities that will begin this coming Sunday. So we do have a brand new round of 20 different activities that are beginning this Sunday. Our activities are going to run Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. As of right now, all of our activities are full. Our sign-up period was extremely successful, and we have no more space. So if you did not get your kids signed up, or if you're a new parent who is interested in signing up, I do apologize, but we are out of room. The only bone that I can throw out right now is that we keep careful track of attendance. And if a student is signed up for, let's say we have a Play-Doh club is going to run on a Wednesday, right? And there's 20 kids that have signed up. But if 3 of those kids don't come the first 2 weeks, we remove them from the roster, and that opens up a couple spaces. But we won't know that information for a couple weeks still. So I do ask your patience. If you are interested in signing up for activities because you didn't get a chance to, I do ask your patience to give us a couple weeks, let the rosters settle out so we know exactly how many kids are coming to each activity, and then we'll send it out again saying, hey, we have a couple extra spots in this activity, that activity. One thing that we did not enforce in the first term, but that we are enforcing this term, is the number of activities each student can do per week. Each student is limited to only doing 2 activities per week. That, again, is just so that more students can participate. And even by doing that, we still obviously have filled up and we're going over enrolled. So again, our goal is to offer as many activities as possible. We are looking at additional options for our third term. It is going to be a shorter term of activities, and that'll start after we come back after Eid in May. But we are looking at some options for that term to expand the number of activities we offer so that more kids can participate. Because at the end of the day, that's what we want. We want everybody to be able to participate and have a wide range of different offerings for kids that like sports, academics, puzzles, building things, a variety, movies, games, just a variety of activities that we can offer. But again, our activities will begin on Sunday. You should be receiving welcome emails from the sponsor for your child's activities. They should be sending you something saying, hey, so excited to have you join our Lego club this term. We'll be meeting on Tuesday afternoons in such and such a classroom. So if you don't get those emails, please reach out to our ASA coordinator, Ms. Roxy, and she'll be able to track down the information for you. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I think that was good information. That was really good because some parents, they have lower school and upper school, and they were like, oh, what happened? So I think it was really good that we had 1 week buffer for lower school to get everything settled. And then for upper school, it was easy because it was still just resuming. I think the next time we will have ASAs for upper school will be February 5th, I believe. I think that's a Sunday, February 5th. So, all right, cool. So the next topic is sports. So I think, Mr. Amy, if you can go and talk about sports and where we're at with that, and then what we're going to offer next season.
It links in with the ASAs directly, the after-school activities. Sports teams are still on. We're still running our sports teams, just like we were with the ASA program. So we've got training started back on Monday. Basketball they have like 5 games, the women's basketball team. My football team and all the football teams, under 19s, under 16s, under 14s. There's a tournament next week. So the ministry and those sporting affiliations are reaching out over the next few days to start planning those tournaments. But essentially the first season of sports for Qatar, which is football, basketball, volleyball, that sort of ends in the next 3 weeks. And then we go into a new sporting season in February, which will link in with that after-school activities on February 5th. That's when we'll have the first trainings and sports teams available. But that'll be like, there might be, off the top of my head, I believe it's basketball might be in second semester. You have badminton, and there's a few sports like that are coming up. But Mr. Romero will be reaching out to parents with all that information. Tennis is one of the things that's been talked about, bringing in and having some tennis players and having some tennis training. But there's a few complications that we got to figure out with that before we can start. We don't actually have tennis equipment at the moment. We just have a few people who are interested in playing tennis. So, but again, if people want it, we'll see what we can do to make sure that it happens.
Yeah, and the thing is, just to give a little bit background and context for the parents, it's been a weird sports season because a lot of our games have been, finalized as we go on. So I don't know if it's just kind of like something after COVID and everybody's trying to scramble to figure out how it is, but hasn't really been a normal season, I'll be honest with you, for sports. So
most of the schools off for the last 6 weeks. A lot of these national tournaments, people are only coming back this week and starting to figure it out. So we only got information today that we have a tournament on Sunday. So there's a lot of that last minute sort of decision making right now, and I think it's just because of that 6 week break. There's a bit of a delay, but every PE, our athletics coordinator in every school, I'm sure, is just working their hardest right now just to make sure that they can align and get it out ahead of time. So appreciate parents' patience with it. It hasn't been the greatest year for sports, but at least we've had sports teams. We haven't really had sports teams in 3 years, so at least this year we got to play some games. I know it wasn't a full-on league that we got this year, but hopefully for next year they'll have that mapped out and planned when we get the calendar.
Absolutely. And I think for lower school as well, sometimes they do have tournaments, but we don't know yet. Mr. Nacho or Mr. Romero, he will let us know exactly. Because I know a lot of parents are asking about grade 2 to grade 5. What tournaments?
Yeah, Mr. Romero, our athletic director, has been able to organize some events and one-off games and tournaments. In elementary school, we don't have really a team, but we do have kids that are interested in playing. If you remember back in the fall, we did have a couple days, actually a week, where we invited, I think, 6 or 7 different schools from around Qatar to come in. We played some mini games for football. Grades 2, 3, 4, and 5 participated, boys and girls. It was a great time. We definitely intend to do more of those things to encourage more sports and more athletics and more activity in our younger kids. And I think all we can do is just build from there. But that week was incredibly successful. The feedback was excellent, and we want to do more of those moving forward.
Yeah, shout out to Mr. Romero for being flexible and being open-minded. He always is in the best interest of trying to get as many games as possible, right? So shout out to Mr. Romero. The next topic that we'll go to is field trips. So I'm going to start with Mr. Jordan first on this one. For field trips, local or international, what do we have going on for lower school?
Sure. Well, for lower school, we don't do international trips. All of our trips are local within Qatar. So far this year, we have had 3 separate trips go, which is 3 more trips than we've had over the last 3 years. All 3 trips were great, successful. We had our grade 2 kids go to Kidzania back before break. And just yesterday, our entire grade 4 went to the National Museum. The Ministry of Education requested, before we went on break, for a full breakdown of all the trips that we intend to run this term. We were able to get them that list, and we are currently waiting on feedback from them on which trips are approved or not. I can tell you that we do have a couple more trips that are absolutely approved. We have a couple trips going to the 321 Sports Museum at the end of January. If you've not been to the 321 Sports Museum, it is fantastic. I highly recommend going yourself. And I am so excited to see what these kids do and how pumped they are coming out of there, because it's a really, really excellent experience. As for the other trips, it's honestly, we're just waiting. I was told by our government relations executive that the committee is supposed to meet next week when they will authorize our trips. And then hopefully, inshallah, we'll be able to take all of them. I think we submitted a list of 22 potential trips between now and May. So if they're approved, we will have a busy term of getting our kids out and about in Qatar.
Yeah, and just to add on that, the international trips that you mentioned at the beginning, we have one definitely approved, and I can't wait because I get to go. But we're going on a ski trip to Georgia the last week of January, going into February. That's in Gadari Ski Resort in Georgia. We have 30 students from high school going to that, and that's going to be a great experience. But we were working on several other international field trips. We had a Kenya one and a few others. We couldn't get approval from the Ministry of Education and the company that we were working. They just couldn't get the paperwork right at the time. It's nothing to do with us or the school. Just wasn't working at the time, especially with COVID, and they were trying to get it done back in August. This is when we were trying to get approval for it. But since then, we've been working with that company, and at the moment, I think we nearly have the green light and go ahead for a trip in May for Bosnia and Sarajevo, which is going to be a history trip. The ski trip is very much you go and we ski, and it's sort of an athletic trip, while this one would be a history-orientated one where you go around to some historical monuments in Sarajevo, which I'm not going on yet. I might try to squeeze in, but I don't know if Mark will approve me being out for 2 weeks. So that's the international field trips. We next year will plan ahead. We want to do Kenya. We want to do Sri Lanka. They're 2 trips that we've done previously, and we want to reintroduce them. The Georgia ski trip, this is our 2nd time doing the international ski trip to Georgia. The Bosnia one is a new one in March. So if we can get 4 or 5 field trips, international trips for next year, that's sort of what we're aiming to do. And then field trips, the same with Jordan. We're waiting on approval from the Ministry of Education for several trips, and we want to plan them as they come up. And we'll try to get them out. It's hard for us to plan ahead. We have so many things going on, but we'll try.
Yeah, I think for that, the Bosnian trip in Sarajevo, if you can squeeze me along, as I do all the social media and things, I would love to attend that trip. Thank you so much. Just putting the seed out there for you. All right, cool. Thanks, guys, for the field trip. The next one, I think the next two are really specifically for Mr. Amon. So in terms of advanced placement and AP exams, talk to us about what's coming up with the exams and AP for the rest of the year.
So right now, it's funny that you say, like, just before I got into this meeting, I was up with the mock exam. We have AP English and we have AP Spanish language on. We're doing mocks. We do mock exams because we believe it improves test scores, because they get to have that experience of doing a full 3-hour exam, and that tends to lead towards better tests in the actual exam in May. But we're a lot of the AP, and I know some parents were concerned with this and upset, but at the same time, unlike other countries, we had the World Cup, they didn't. So they had a 2-week winter break like normal, but we had a 6-week winter break, and they don't push our AP exams because we had the World Cup here. We still are on their schedule. So some of the teachers for the AP gave work over the break to cover a unit and to self-study and just try to work on that. So we're a little bit tight this year on the timings with study and whatnot. But that being said, we're on track. Most of the teachers seem on board. The mock exams are going to be finished at the end of January. Report cards go out on the 26th, and that'll have the mock results in there. And then in May, we have a 2-week AP exams. They're already scheduled. They're already on AP College Board. So that's pretty much the plan for AP.
All right, cool. That's a good overview. I mean, a lot of it is aligned, like you said, to the U.S., right, and what's going on there. But our kids are soldiers. They really go through as much as they can to fight through the time differences and COVID and all types of things. So shout out to our students and our teachers for that. All right, so the other one is also for you as well. The one that we're all looking forward to is the graduation of 2023. So I know it's a little bit early, but I just wanted to kind of get out there like, hey, what are we doing? What's the date if we have one? What should parents expect in grade 12?
So I think I'm allowed to announce this, Mark. You can slap me if not. But June 1st, we've booked a venue. We've booked the Radisson Blu, which is a venue that we used last year and we used in our first graduating year. So we booked that venue because it's worked, and we've worked alongside Radisson Blu for a lot of things. And it was a great experience last year, and I think we had a lot of positive comments about it. We want to tweak, obviously, everything and build on everything that we do. As a school, that's what we want to do. We want to grow, and we look at what we could make better. But there's a graduation committee working on a few things in the background. I don't want to say any surprises at the moment. So June 1st, I believe it's Thursday, probably be around 6 o'clock on June 1st, 6 to 8 o'clock, which is what we did last year. It'll be great. Once we get more information about that, we'll send it out to parents, and we'll make sure they're aware. I know some parents are already asked for that date because they need to book it off at work and stuff. So at least we have the date booked and the venue. And then the other thing is on the 18th, Justin with the Pret-a-Portrait are coming in to do the photos. So we'll have our graduation photos on the 18th January on campus. So they just need to come, make sure they look good, and smile. They don't have to look good. I don't know. I didn't look good for my graduation photo. But I know that can be an important photo for some parents. So just know that January 18th is when they'll be getting their grad photos. And that'll be in the school yearbook this year that we also are hoping to print out and have ready for that as well.
Yeah, that's a good plug. I didn't have to now say it now. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. All right, great. So, Mr. Amon, we're done with your segment of the topics. I'll bring it back up here as well. So now we're going to Mr. Mark. He has a couple things that he wants to speak about in terms of parent workshops and also the NPS score and what it really means to our community. So, Mr. Mark, I'll leave it to you to talk about first the monthly parent workshops that we have designed for the parents.
Awesome. So yeah, thanks for that opportunity to put that word out there, because we are doing parent workshops again. I'll tell you what they are in a minute. But it's something it's another one of those, Jordan used the term return to normalcy, that, we used to do parent workshops, and we would be asked occasionally, how come you don't do parent workshops anymore? Because we can't have parents on campus. It made it hard, right? And we tried to do these live streams and things like this in the interim, But hey, we're allowed to have you guys back on campus again. So we started doing parent conferences, well, we've done parent conferences, right? We'll have parent coffee mornings, but we're doing parent workshops. They're typically based on feedback from you guys to Justin and to the SLT and to our teachers in terms of what would parents like to learn more about. We've had a couple of good parent workshops so far this year. We have a few more scheduled. And I was really excited. The last parent workshop we had, Justin, how many, 40 or 50 people, I think?
I would say at least 40 safely.
Yeah. So I'm hoping we do better in the next parent workshop because I'm one of the presenters, right? So I want to be able to boast about that we had even more than last time. So if you're interested, spread the word. But we're going to be talking about building one of our. You've seen all our core values and everything. In addition to our core values, we have our learning principles. That's what we think makes a good learning community. And one of our number one learning principles is developing healthy relationships. And so this next parent workshop is about developing healthy relationships. And the things that you're going to learn in that workshop are going to help with your kids. I'm doing a stint on positive discipline techniques, but they're basic interpersonal skills that no matter how good you are, it's not going to hurt. No matter who you are, no matter how happy you are, no matter how healthy and well-rounded you are as a person, I think you're going to probably pick up one or two things that you could walk away from and think, oh, I never really thought of it that way. I can do that. So the goal is just to help you become a more healthy, well-rounded, successful person. So if that's something you're interested in, please come to this next parent workshop on developing healthy relationships. And our goal is to have one every month thereafter and to make sure you know what they are well in advance and to try and do them at times that you can make it. So.
Yeah, I think the other part that's indirect of these parent workshops is that other parents get to meet other parents.
Yep.
So like it's a chance for you to meet someone that you may not have known or to link up with someone that you do already know and get a chance to experience our parent cafe, our campus, things like that. So I'm really, really impressed and really grateful for the amount of parent turnout that we have for the last two that we did. We just started in October. So we had one in October, and then we had another one in November. This one in January on the 24th will be a third installment, of the monthly parent workshops. And so it's going to be great. I mean, this is about what you have told us that you want to learn about. So literally it's designed for you. And so we hope, for a bigger turnout for the next one. So Mark, the next topic is more about the NPS score. We're really excited to talk about this. And but I don't want to take too much of your shine. I want you to go ahead because you got to be very proud and excited to talk about what our score means this year.
I'm super proud of it. I'm honored with the positive feedback that you guys as a community have given us as a school, and to the extent that I have right after this meeting, I have another meeting, and this meeting is going to be with our staff. And I have sort of a laundry list of bullet points to go over, but it's about things that we've done well and then things that we can improve upon. And similarly, I have a whole pile here of things that of surveys that I had from our staff. So we don't just get surveys. And I know in upper school, you guys surveyed the students. It's not just about our parent survey, right? We survey our staff. The SLT reads all the feedback we got from our staff, and we get really positive feedback there. And I love that. And it's great to hear compliments. But sometimes there's really valid critical feedback. And with that, we can learn and we can grow and we can become a better SLT. The teachers do the same thing with feedback that your students give them. And then that's one of the reasons we want to reach out to you. One of the things that corporate has heard me say many times, which is why I put so much value on this parent survey score, is I don't think my parents are stupid. I think my parents are smart. I think they have lots of choices in education, and I think there's a reason why they choose us. And I think if we fail them and they go somewhere else, there's a reason why that happened. And so these surveys are an invaluable source of information for us. When I got here 7 years ago, I was lucky enough as a new head of school to inherit a school that was already a happy, thriving place that had really positive relationships in the community. And I was impressed by the parent survey scores. But, one of the things we say, we're Raptors will soar to new heights. no matter how good we're doing, we can always do better. And the following year, we had a better net promoter score. Net promoter means the NPS, they call it net promoter score. They look at detractors. If you gave us a 1 through 6 in any rating, it's a detractor. If you give us a 7 or an 8 on any rating, it's neutral. And if you give us a 9 or a 10, you're a promoter. So the net promoters, they add up the number of positives versus the number of negatives, and you get a score at the end. So my third year here, we had the highest score in the entire GEMS network. And it was really quite high. I can't remember that year. I think, Justin, we were 32 or 33. I think
you're right. Yeah.
It was high, and one of the highest in the GEMS network. We did really well again the next year, but we got beat by somebody, and we were only in the top 3, and that didn't like that. I like being number 1. And then I'm not going to lie, COVID, we took a bit of a hit, but all schools, I think, took a bit of a hit. COVID was hard, but you guys gave us some really great feedback during COVID, and I think we've bounced back, and I think we've really bounced back well. This year's the highest score we've ever had. We got a 57, which puts us up there with the likes of Yahoo and some really. It's really hard to get a net promoter score in any industry over 50. So that's really high. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess, depending on I'm being selfish. Fortunately, several of our other GEM schools did equally well or a little better. So while we are the number 1 in the US and IB network, we were beat by 1 or 2 British schools, and including our sister school. Really proud of WSQ. They got us by a point. We're 56, they're 57. So I've jokingly ribbed David about that. David over next door at Wellington a little bit about that, but I'm really proud of how they've done. And I think that shows that it's not just GAAQ. GEM's reputation is growing here in Qatar as one of the best school organizations in the country. I'm quite proud of that. And I appreciate all the positive feedback that you've given us. Justin and I will read every single parent comment, every one of them. And we will also address the detractors. If there are people who have concerns, we need to really look at that, because while I'm really proud of how we're doing, we can always do better. We can always soar to new heights together. So thanks for that. Justin, does that explain it?
Yeah, I'll just add a couple more things. Any score over a 50 on the NPS is considered excellent. So we really appreciate you thinking of us as an excellent school. But like Mark said, and the hallmark of his leadership is we just do better every year. We have to do something different, better, and everything is valued. My position literally is because we have parents. I don't exist if you don't have parents. Literally, I don't exist, right? And I'm not the only one receiving feedback. So we just continue to thrive on it. And we're thick-skinned. You can tell us, honestly how you feel, good or bad or indifferent, right? So we just appreciate you being honest with us and coming back to us every single year. So that's really appreciative. And just to put it in context of what Mark said, we had our highest NPS score out of our entire history of our school, by far. The highest. The other part is we're the top NPS score amongst American schools in the GEMS network. Okay, that's another thing to put in perspective. We're the second highest amongst what they call premium schools in the GEMS network, right? So something to think about. Top 5 overall score in general. We have some outstanding schools in GEMS with the NPS scores, outstanding. So these are just some things. It's not about the stats. It's really just about your feedback. But we want to say thank you. I know you heard it from us before, but we're going to say thank you, and continue to give us the feedback, because that's what makes us grow. Without feedback, we can't grow. We don't know what we're doing, right? Sometimes we're blind. So thank you so much. Mark, that is it for you in terms of the topics. I'm going to make this quick on my end. I'm going to bring up the last segment in terms of what I'll talk about. So I'll keep the screen up as we're speaking. In terms of sibling enrollment, we want to know if you have siblings for your kids. So if your kids have a brother that wants to come into pre-K, or you have another sibling in another school that's in, grade 5 that you want to bring them here, please let us know. Please email myself, or please email the registrar, and then we'll be able to work with you on prioritizing sibling enrollment. All right. So enrollment is starting now for the next school year. And so this is why we have a lot of families who have siblings coming from somewhere else or new admissions because their child is 3 years old or more. And so this is why we're saying, let us know about your sibling enrollment because we want to take care of our families first. Okay. So that's number one. Number two, I'm going to remind you until the cows come home about the 4% tuition discount per referral. We have a lot of families referring other families to our school. We're super grateful, super indebted to those families for spreading the word. But you can also benefit and get a thank you from us by getting a 4% discount by, making sure that the family you refer, once they pass the assessment, they will put your name down on the paperwork that says you referred them to our school, and then you're going to be eligible for a 4% discount each and every time someone successfully registers to our school. Okay, so you can have 8% discount with 2 students, 12% discount for 3 students. Heck, we even had a family who had, I think, 4 referrals in a year. So it can happen. And this is another way for you to lower your tuition. The next thing is the 10% corporate tuition discounts. So we still have that available as well. We still have corporate discounts here with different companies. I'm not going to name all of them right now. It's a lot, but we do have different corporate discounts. So if you have any questions on if your company is eligible for a discount or would like to be eligible for a future discount, please email me. The next thing is that we are having an offer right now for any new pre-K, any new KG1 or any new KG2 students that register into our school. You'll be eligible for a 600 Real voucher for a uniform. Okay, so these are all new pre-K, KG1, and KG2. We're getting a lot of interest now from nurseries and from the students who haven't been in school before, and we just want to be able to provide a little incentive, for them to come to our school. And so therefore, if you have any families or friends or anyone in your network that has little ones that are looking for a school home, this is the offer that we will have for everyone that is looking to enroll for 2023, 2024. And we will have open houses every single month where they can come for play and stay assessments. And this may be one of the easiest things for you to do, is to bring them here for the assessment and get a same day enrollment decision, on that child. So something to think about. If you need more information on that, you can please feel free to email our admissions team or myself. But this is the current offer that we have right now for the early years, new early years children. And then the last thing, just as a reminder for upcoming events, Predator portrait makeup photos. This is for students who are absent, students who did not take a picture, or students who just weren't enrolled at the time of our original photos. You can take a makeup photo with Predator portrait on the 18th or the 19th of January. So more information will be coming soon. We're just finalizing the schedule at the moment. But we'll send this out to all of the families soon, so you'll be able to see what the makeup schedule looks like. And then the last thing, as Mr. Mark was talking about, the parent workshop, Strengthening Positive Relationships. He will be doing a segment as well. So he's also about 3 other people doing other segments in that workshop. So please feel free to come out, see Mr. Mark talk, and then also our other leaders talk about strengthening positive relationships. This will be on January 24th. From 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. This will be in our Black Box Theater on the top floor. If you don't know where that is, because it could be a little bit confusing, our front desk will let you know exactly how to get to that room. So again, we had about 40 come out last time. We want 50. Bring a friend. Get some coffee. Bring a friend. That's the theme for this one. Bring someone to come. You don't have to be a parent here just to get the knowledge and information. Okay, so please come to that. That is it for me. I'm going to take this off the screen. Is there any other parting words that you all want to say before we close our Thursday for the weekend? Anything you want to say?
Just I didn't have. Oh, sorry, Mark. Go ahead.
No, you first.
I didn't have a whole lot to contribute to this conversation. A lot of it dealt with secondary and greater school issues. So I just wanted to kind of give my thanks to all the parents who did fill out our survey. Who did help us with our Net Promoter Score, who do give us that positive feedback and even that constructive feedback. We value it all. It all means a lot to us. And, I just hope you're as excited for these coming months as I am. Before this meeting, I was working on my weekly Raptor report. And I just kind of smiled as I was writing it. Yes, Justin, I got it. I got it done today.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
And as I was putting some pictures in, the teachers have shared with me of their kids over this past week, and everyone is just so happy, and it's just great to see. One of those things that I always tell parents is that I like working in a school where kids want to be, right? And it may sound like a silly thing, but it is really important to be in a school where the kids want to come. Justin and Eamon said before that we had 12 previous alumni show up on their own. They took their time to come to a school that they're no longer required to come to. That says something. I'm fortunate enough to be able to have enrolled my daughter in school starting. She just started a couple of days ago. And, when a 3-year-old wakes up at 5:30 in the morning, excited for the day, you know that you're doing something right, because she is excited to come to school every day. And I see that from a lot of our kids, and I just love it. So thank you.
And thank you, Jordan. And before you go, Mr. Eamon, we do have 2 questions from the audience, just 2 real quick, because I know we have about 2 minutes. So this one is from a parent here about, my kids always complain about the cold. So
Sorry, I always laugh because as an Irishman who used to like be in these cold rooms, like of 9 degrees, and it used to be wet and rainy, and we're fluctuating. The air conditioning has been on over the last 6 weeks. I think it's colder in some of the rooms just purely because of that. I think as it's a cold time of year, I suggest that they just wear a shirt, like a nice, you can get some warm, very cheap from any store, like a cheap t-shirt under your shirt. You can wear that. That'll keep the heat in. But the air conditioning is too high. Maybe some people would say it's too hot. Some say it's not cold enough. I always have that argument with my wife. We battle over 21 Celsius, or is it 19 Celsius? So, I get that as a complaint. If they think it's really bad, just let them come talk to me, and I can see which room and see if there is an actual issue with the air conditioning in that room, and I can get maintenance to check, no problem.
All right. One more here as well. And Mr. Mark, I'll give this to you, or Mr. Jordan as well. So can we have new updates on 2nd grade teacher?
Go ahead, Jordan.
Sure, I can take that. If you were at school yesterday, you didn't see Mark or I. That's because we were engaged in Zoom interviews with candidates for the entire day. We understand that this is an important thing for parents. For those of you that aren't aware, due to personal reasons, one of our grade 2 teachers was unable to return this term, and we didn't find out about it until last minute. So it is our number 1 priority to find a new qualified, experienced teacher to take that teacher's place, and to ensure that the education of your children does not suffer and is not interrupted. So Mark and I conducted interviews all day yesterday. We actually did put an offer out to someone this morning. We are waiting to hear back. If for some reason that offer does not work, we have a couple other candidates that we feel very positively about as well. We are optimistic that we will have a new permanent teacher in that classroom at some point next week. In the meantime, I do want to thank Ms. Nicole, who is our grade 2 TA, for filling in this week. She has done a fantastic job. Beginning on Sunday, Miss Rebecca, Mark's wife, is actually going to jump in there and help out as well. It really is an all hands on deck situation, and it's one that we take very seriously. The moment we have a signed contract and a person in country ready to take on that class, we will inform everyone right away. Mark, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think you covered pretty much everything except to put in perspective. I was in Egypt during the year of the revolution, and we lost a science teacher in middle of September, an AP chemistry teacher, and we never got that position filled ever. And there was a lot of really angry parents, and I understood every single one of them. But my answer every time was, how many qualified AP chemistry teachers do you know of available mid-year who want to come to Egypt in the middle of the revolution right now? It was a horrible situation. when someone can't come back, whether it's by their choice or it's not against their will, it's a horrible situation for the parents and for the kids. I'm hopeful we're going to have this rectified in less than 2 weeks. That will honestly be the fastest I've ever seen a mid-year replacement happen in any of the schools I've ever been in. I can't promise that's what's going to happen, but that is our goal. That's what Jordan and I have been working for. If this person doesn't accept the offer we have put out today, I told Jordan that this is just going to be a weekend where I'm not off. It's going to be a weekend where I work because I've got other interviews then and other applicants that have come in today. So Jordan and I are not going to rest until your children have a teacher.
And I will vouch to you all parents that they don't rest. We were in a meeting and Jordan left literally and said, I'm going to go interview people now. Because that was his only priority. So we will get it figured out and sorted, So good question there. And then the last question, Mr. Amon will address that in his Raptor report. He actually still has it there for the Georgia trip. If there's anything concrete, it will be on his page in the Raptor report. All right.
Yeah, with the international trips specifically, it's whoever's organizing that at the moment. They'll post it on the high school advisory and middle school advisory pages that all the students should have access to. If your daughter or son doesn't have access to do it, just tell them to come to me. I have the code. They can join it and you get all of the information that's there. And once I get complete confirmation, I'll have information on my Raptor report as well. All right. And then the only other thing that's in my Raptor report this week that's worth mentioning is uniform wise, we got rid of the ties and the scarves as being mandatory. It's part of a long-term sort of uniform shift, but for the moment, students aren't required to wear ties or scarves. I think they look good in a tie and a scarf, but that's down to each parent's discretion if they want their child to wear it. They don't have to. I'm not going to be giving out to them anymore. But the other stuff, like wearing white shoes or sweatpants or like anything that's non-uniform at the moment, I'm coming down hard on that stuff starting on Sunday. So I don't want to upset anybody, but we're just trying to follow school policy and be clear with the expectations.
Yes. So that's about it, folks. Hytham, this definitely is recorded. You can just check it out on Facebook and YouTube. As soon as we're done in this broadcast, it will be right on Facebook and YouTube for your reference. So not a problem at all. Thanks for tapping in with us. We are out, everyone. Enjoy your Thursday. Have a better weekend, and we'll see you all Sunday, inshallah. All right? Have a good one, y'all. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.